Apple News comes pre-installed on iPhones. Over 140 million Americans use it every single month. It decides what shows up as the top stories. According to a Media Research Center analysis, more than 600 featured morning stories were reviewed for the month of January during the app's most high-traffic time slots. Hundreds upon hundreds of those stories came from left-wing outlets like the AP, NBC, the Washington Post, Axios, Reuters, and the New York Times. But guess how many Apple News stories came from right-wing outlets like Fox News, the Daily Wire, the Washington Examiner, or the New York Post? Guess how many? 0. 96 consecutive days without a single conservative source featured in top stories. Now we know why millions of Americans don't know how violent these criminal aliens being arrested by ICE are, or the true impact of voter fraud, or why they believe Donald Trump abused children in the Epstein files. Millions of Americans are totally buying the left-wing narrative that is being spoon-fed to them.
You see, I've been telling people, or I've been trying to tell people over and over again, it's impossible for anybody to have a positive viewpoint on somebody when 90% of the information that's given on the person, 90% plus of the stories that's given on the person are all negative. If you heard nothing but negative about a person before you've seen him or even talked to him, you're going to assume this person is fucking negative, evil, all the shit that you've heard. If everything you've heard has been negative, okay? And then I'll be trying to tell people, this is why when you're on the left, this is why you have clouded judgment. This is why you need to break away from the shit, because they keep everything in an echo chamber. They just echo the same shit, and they're all ran by the same companies and owned by the same people. That's why they're all pushing the same rhetoric, the same stories, the same bullshit, and they flood the airwaves with it. It's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them. So it's damn near impossible for a person to be on the left with their algorithms and all that shit. It's damn near impossible for them to even see anything from the right or anything that goes against what the left narrative is. 96 days with zero coverage from the other side. And then when I tell folks you got a biased view, of course you got a biased view, because all the information that comes to you is all biased and coming from one side. You're never hearing the other side. And then when you think you're hearing from the other side, it's just a paid group from the original owners of the left. Shit is fucking crazy, bro. This is why I be telling folks, you can't just all the way just trust these news sites and what these people be putting up on these news stations and shit like that, because they're all biased. 96 days with no coverage from anything that's coming from the right or that goes against or that is the opposite of the left's narrative. 96 days. Zero coverage of anything from the other side, bro. That's brainwashing. Like, let that sink in. And folks, remember, that's just the coverage from the last 96 days. Imagine what they did over the entire year, bro. You got to remember, over a 10-year span, over a decade, they've had 92% negative coverage on Donald Trump. 92%. So if you fuck with any news outlet, anything like that, you're most likely going to have disdain and hate towards Donald Trump, because 92+% of all coverage that's been on this dude has been negative. And then they're not even covering the stuff that happens from the right and on the right. Nothing, no angle from them, no nothing. God damn, this is what you call brainwashing, bro. Any sane person, any logical head thinking person, anybody with comprehension, when you guys hear those numbers and hear those dynamics, there's no way you can refute the fact that they're out here brainwashing folks. And if you got hate towards Donald Trump, it's manufactured. It's manufactured. I was about to say majority of the time, but it's all the time, because none of you people have met him in person. None of you people have been in the same room with him. So if you automatically think negative of the dude or dislike the dude or think the guy's evil, anything like that, it's all manufactured by the media and all of that shit. I hate to say it, it's unfortunate, but you've been brainwashed. If you have any level of comprehension, any level of logic inside your brain, after hearing these numbers, after hearing this dynamic, you have to come to this conclusion. There's nothing else that you can conclude from this, if you have comprehension and a logical brain. But I'm done. I want to hear from y'all. What are your thoughts on this? Now, I'm going to say it again. Remember, 96 days straight with zero coverage from anyone on the right, anything pertaining to the right, any angle coming from the right. Okay, 96 days straight. And then we have a decade of 92+% of all negative coverage, only negative coverage on Donald Trump. And then think about how folks feel about him. And then go from there. Let all that shit sink in, bro. all this disdain and everything towards Donald Trump is manufactured. But like I said, I want to hear from y'all. Let's talk about it. Drop your thoughts and feelings in the comments.